All right. Let me move a little closer to the mic. We are live for day 2 of Abundance Rising. I always have issues with Facebook. Trying to adjust a little bit too. I don't know if you guys saw it on day 1's video at the very beginning. I had to do a little adjustment. I just did it again. So welcome everyone to Abundance Rising Day 2. I am having a blast with this free series, this free workshop series. And it's funny, I know I spoke about this a little bit during our last live for day 1, but this is really the first time I didn't stick with a hard structure, right? It's a crazy time of year. Today is Black Friday. I thank everyone for joining me on Black Friday. And it's a time of year that we are always hustling, always moving. So much is going on. So I figured if we come together, we could slow down a little bit. And that is whether you are on the live or on the replay. I think that I may be glitching a little bit. If you're here on Facebook, please let me know. Same thing with Instagram. I feel like we are glitching a little bit. Let me know. So as you're coming in, guys, Facebook and Instagram, let me know. Say your name. Say one word that is coming through for today. Today's topic is all about the client attraction blueprint. It's about endless clients, okay? Endless success, limitlessness. That's what we are talking about throughout this whole entire 3-day workshop. This idea of limitlessness is not just limited to clients and business either, okay? So I know a lot of my students, many of my students, most of my students are entrepreneurs actually, but many of my students are not, or maybe you're just beginning your entrepreneurial journey, or maybe you are on the journey of soul purpose discovery, whatever it may be. This discussion today will definitely apply to you as well, okay? As you're coming in, say hello. Tell me one word that's coming through. One word that's coming through. And do that for the replay too, guys. I love to see it. I always read all the comments as they're coming in. All right. I may be glitching a little bit, but I don't know. Last time it was fine. It glitched and then the replay video, the recording was fine. So, all right. Let's begin. Welcome to day 2, the client attraction blueprint. Today we're going to get into a little bit of the strategies as well. So what I was saying for the majority of this workshop, so many of us spiritual souls, whether we're entrepreneurs or not, so many of us spiritual souls, we're so guided by energy and we're so guided by our intuition, and we know everything there is to know about manifestation, about healing. We've been on this journey for quite some time, right? And I say we because I know many of you in this community, you have been on this journey for quite some time. But what I've been finding is a lot of us will get a little stuck in the energetic component, right? So we free fall into the energetic component. We understand energetics really, really well, but we also need to be grounded and rooted in some kind of strategy too. And that's where I see a lot of people get stuck. It's in that space of not really having a guided place to go. And that's okay. And I say this too because I was there. I was there for nearly 4 years of my business. So for the first 4 years of my business, I was so stuck because I was stuck in stories. I was stuck in stories that I was stuck, right? Like that was the story. I'm stuck. How come nobody wants to pay me for my work? How come this isn't working? How come my work isn't good enough? How come I'm not making any money? Like I was just so stuck in those stories. And the other side of it was, well, I shouldn't be stuck. I should be there by now. I know everything there is to know about manifestation. I know everything there is to know about energetics and abundance and all of that stuff. So why am I stuck? That was the first 4 whole years of my business. And I say too, guys, I was stuck for 4 whole years so that you don't have to take 4 years to find the wild, insane success that you're after. And in fact, many of my clients, when they come into my spaces, they quantum leap fast, like really, really fast. We are going to be launching the Wealth Frequency Portal. We're going to be relaunching it in a couple weeks. And that portal is totally devoted to soulpreneurs, and it's heavy on the strategy and the energetics. It's the blend of both because we need to be grounded and rooted in something. We need to know where we are going. And I have a few students going through it right now, like the like the beta test of it, and like they're already it's insane what's going on. Like really fast quantum leaps, like booking out their offerings, like getting a record number of inquiries overnight. Really crazy stuff where they might have felt stuck. That's our favorite word, is stuck in their business for a while. So I always say I was stuck in my business for 4 whole years so that you don't have to be, right? I learned everything there is to learn. And at the same time, I was stuck because, again, I felt like I knew everything there was to know about manifestation and spirituality, yet I still couldn't get to where I wanted to go. And it felt impossible. It felt really, really hard. So I was stuck in those stories. But I also didn't have a solid strategy. We can't just put energetic work into everything, guys. Okay? I know we might want to, and all of us are built differently. We all have like a different blend. Like for some people, more energy is gonna work better for you, right? Instead of more strategy. Others really need more strategy. A lot of you need the strategy to be grounded into, because when we don't have a solid strategy that we are following, things can get very chaotic. And then you can get stuck in those stories of, I know everything there is to know about manifestation and attraction and energetics, and I've manifested money in the past, and I could do everything when it comes to manifestation, but I just can't get it to work when it comes to lasting abundance in my business, or wild success in my business, or just lasting abundance in my life. And that's a lot of what this workshop is about, because we need those strategic elements to ground into as well. Guys, as you're coming in, say your name, say one word for what's coming through. I think that Facebook is glitching a little bit. We are on day 2 of our Abundance Rising 3-day workshop. Our third and final day is going to be tomorrow. I know that the schedule got a little messed up. And again, this is the first time I didn't have like a really hard structure for one of my workshops, because it's a weird week. I figured let's just come together live, do these trainings, ground in, or when you're watching and catching the replay, you can ground in then and give that time to yourself. Okay, I'm checking on Facebook. Guys, if you're there, I'm sorry, I don't see you. It might be glitching again. I love you though. And everyone on the replay too. Okay, endless clients and limitless wealth, it's the same thing. It's the energy and frequency of abundance. It's all the energy and frequency of abundance. We make client attraction really, really hard. Many of you do, right? When it comes to business, especially as mentors, healers, leaders, people in the online space, building your community, whether you have been in business for a while, whether you have just started, whether you were doing this as a side hustle and now you're finally ready to go all in, no matter what area you're in, even if you're making those 100K months, the client attraction aspect, it's still, that's what we are just like so rooted into. It's all about clients. And we make that the focus of everything. I need more clients, or I have to have X clients so I can meet this income goal. I have to have X number of clients in this container. I have to have clients. And really, clients is abundance. Clients is the frequency of abundance. You already know how to master the frequency of abundance. So why do we make clients so difficult? Or again, for those of you who may not be an entrepreneur, why are you making success or the career of your dreams or the home or the soulmate of your dreams so difficult? It's always those things that we want the most that we make so difficult. And what happens is we focus on these things. We put all of our energy into this focus of this one thing, the clients, the soulmate, the success, the career, the business that expands and expands. We put so much focus on this one little thing that we forget everything else going on around us. We forget to be rooted in the present moment. We forget to make peace with the present moment. That's a really big one. I talk about that one a lot. That was one of the biggest things that helped me, is to make peace with the present moment. Because when we are telling ourselves we should be there by now, we're not looking at what's happening right now in the present moment. Like sometimes it's going to take the universe and it's going to take current reality. It's going to take a while sometimes to catch up to where you want to be, the desired reality. And in those moments of catching up, you can either resist it by saying, I'm not there yet, I should be there by now, where are the clients, where's the success, why isn't it happening faster, how come I'm at this income plateau, how come I can't get past a certain level, how come my income dipped, is there something wrong with me, is there something wrong with Instagram, maybe there's something wrong with the whole launch plan that I have, I'm doing it wrong, this is wrong, that is wrong. That's all resistance. So in those moments, instead of waiting and allowing the next level of reality to flow in, you're in the total realm of resistance and you keep pushing against it, forcing against it. And one of the best ways to break through that resistance is to make peace with the present moment. And gratitude, right? Gratitude. Like many of you have gratitude practices, but how much do you really stop and be mindful and say, wow, I'm really grateful for what I built. Wow, I'm really proud of myself for what I built. I, for example, for those 4 years I was stuck in my business, I was attracting hundreds of people into my free workshops. Hundreds of people would be signing up. Hundreds. Our email list is gigantic. Like especially for my Instagram following, our email list is gigantic, and that is because of a lot of those workshops that I held at the very beginning of the business, the first few years. I wasn't focused on that. I wasn't even sitting in gratitude for the hundreds of people who would come and learn from me. Hundreds of people coming to learn from me. I wasn't even seeing it. I wasn't seeing any of that. All I was seeing was the fact that I wasn't there yet. All I was seeing was the fact that my income wasn't where I wanted it to be yet. I wasn't honoring the present moment. I wasn't honoring everything I was doing. The email lists that I was building, the funnels I was building, the offers I was building, everything I was creating. Hi guys, as you're coming in, say your name. One word for what's coming through today. We're talking about client attraction. I think the Facebook is still a little glitchy. We're gonna keep going through, okay? Hopefully I'll see some comments too. I wasn't paying attention to any of that. So for 4 years I was stuck in my business. I was just focused so hard on where I wanted to be and why I wasn't there yet. I'm not there yet. I should be there by now. And all I was creating was a ton of resistance that kept pushing away that reality. And one of the things that helped me the most, I talk about this a lot, is making peace with the present moment, honoring myself, celebrating myself, honoring the people who were in my community. Hi, Amanda. Amanda's sister. Confidence. Yes. I love that. I love that you said that too. Guys, confidence is one of the major energetic frequencies that is going to attract clients into your world. And no, we can't feel on top of our game all the time. We can't feel confident all the time. But once you get that energetic momentum going, that's what it is. It's energetic momentum. It's the vortex that Abraham Hicks talks about. And it keeps spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, so that when you do have a day or two off, you already built this awesome community of super fan clients that love to learn from you and love to hear you no matter what, if you have a day off or not. And by the way, when you do have a low day, you got to talk about that. We're going to talk about that today too. Authenticity is key. For 4 years I was trying to do things like everyone else, and I lacked the confidence. I hated myself. I was still operating on those deep rooted wounds from my teenage years, even from my college years. I had so much guilt that I harbored inside. And not even just like the money stuff, right? Like we talked a lot about like the money healing stuff on, not yesterday, on Wednesday, on day one. It wasn't just that. It was the fact that I wasn't confident in myself. I knew my shit. I knew I could teach. I knew I could get people transformations, but I still wasn't confident enough in myself. And all that did was it just came through. It came through in everything I did. It came through in the content that I posted. It came through in the videos that I posted. It was that energetic frequency of lacking the confidence in myself. I'm really glad you mentioned that, Amanda. Thank you. Confidence is a huge thing. You got to look within yourself. And you build the confidence in the business by healing each layer of yourself that comes up, right? The business is a mirror. Everything that you go through is going to be a mirror. And as you learn more and more, like as you get further and further, I would say sometimes it gets easier. Sometimes it's not that easy though. Sometimes you're going to go through some shit. Like look at what I just went through, this dark night of the soul. It wasn't because the business wasn't working. The business is skyrocketing. I was hit with a lot of tough lessons because I had to learn how to set stronger boundaries, client boundaries, business boundaries, boundaries with my family, boundaries within myself, just boundaries with how I wanted to do things, when I wanted to do things, how often I wanted to do things. So I was hit with a lot of tough lessons that way. And I'm moving through a cold. Like you could hear it in my voice. It's like never ending. I know I'm not the only one. There's like so many people I talk to. It's the same thing. But it's just, it's a mirror. Your business is a mirror. And your journey of creating limitless wealth is also a mirror. A lot of things are going to come up. So when you feel those feelings rising up to the surface, you got to take a step back. You have to honor yourself more and realize, okay, this is what's going on. One of my favorite things to do is to zoom out as my higher self. So if I'm going through something really tough, like let's say imposter syndrome, right? Because like that's a really big one in our business. You could also feel imposter syndrome when you're creating the reality of your dreams and the limitless wealth reality of your dreams. You can feel like an imposter even if you're not an entrepreneur. So I keep sniffing. I should have had a tissue with me. I might have to pause and get a tissue in a second. All of a sudden today, it's like now it's the allergies coming out, but I think that's because I was cleaning a lot too the last 2 days. So a lot of that does. So you can feel like an imposter at any time that you're ready to level up, right? Level up. So now I'm ready to get into a level where I'm creating $10,000 months easily and effortlessly. I know it's coming to me. I am grounded and rooted in that knowing it's coming to me. I know I have clients who are obsessed with my work. I know I have clients who are always in the DMs. I have message requests all the time. Like, this is my reality, right? Like when you're in that reality, guess what? You're not thinking or acting or being the way that you're being in current reality, right? It might be when you're making $10,000 months, maybe you're intending for $20,000 months, whatever that next level may be. You're going to have to clear a lot out and learn to become the version of you who's at that level. So at that 10K month level, you're not worrying about where the clients are coming from. Well, maybe not worried. You're just, you're at the 10K month level, you're going to continue expanding. But let's say, okay, the 100K month level, you're not worried about where the clients are coming from, right? Like but that's the whole thing too. We don't want to be in the energy of worry. We want to be in the energy of trust and know and flow. And that is really the whole basis of this workshop. Limitlessness is about that trusting and that knowing and that flowing. So sometimes what I like to do is zoom out as my higher self when something like imposter syndrome comes up. And I'll zoom out as my higher self and I'll like view my current self and see what she's going through. And this is a really good way to kind of like detach yourself from the emotions, like just sit with them, feel them, acknowledge them, and then move through them, right? You are divine. You are divine. Your higher self lives within you. And every move that you make in your life and your business, every layer that you heal, every layer that you shed, every goal that you set, every level that you get to, every tiny move is bringing you closer to higher self frequency. Like that's what we're doing here. That's what this journey is really all about. It's about becoming closer to our higher selves. That's what Earth School is all about. I know I said that in day one. Why is Facebook giving me these weird things? Oh, that was so weird. It was like this weird notification that just came up. I never saw it. I don't know. Facebook hates me. Like every time I'm on Facebook, either I'm locked out, it doesn't work, it glitches. So we're just going to keep moving through it. I know once it's done, the replay will be fine. So I'm just going to trust, know, feel guided, feel protected, right? And just free falling into the limitlessness of trusting Facebook. So I zoom out as my higher self. This is a really powerful practice, guys. You got to start kind of like detaching from so many of these heavy emotions and so many of these heavy feelings and energies, because it's these heavy energies that is creating a lot of resistance, no matter how much you know about manifestation. Why aren't the clients here yet? How come nobody's buying my stuff? How come no one's interested in my stuff? Right? I mean, these are sometimes important questions to sit with as far as, wait, let me rewind. Those are important questions, but framed in a different way. So instead of how come no one wants to buy my stuff, you got to ask yourself things like, what can I do to have a lot more fun as I launch this offer? What can I do to feel really grounded and excited, right? The energy of excitement is everything, especially in your business. What can I do to make this even more fun for my clients? How can I create content differently? Or maybe what can I say differently that'll really get my clients to feel like I see them, right? People want to feel seen, they want to feel heard. And when it comes to content creation and your messaging especially, you want to, it's twofold. You want to make them feel seen and heard, and you also want them to know who you are, the person that you are at your core. It is so important. Personal branding is what it is. Maybe not for all of us, right? Like some of us might be more product-based entrepreneurs. Your business doesn't always necessarily fall in the line of personal branding, but for the majority of my clients and the majority of what we do here in this community, your business is your personal brand. It's your personal brand. And the businesses that I have seen that skyrocket are those that really dig into the fact that they are a personal brand. The ones that I see fail or maybe fizzle out a little bit, or maybe they're having a lot of trouble and they have to lift themselves back up, those are the ones who haven't quite created that personal brand. Maybe they were running off of, blueprints of other people, right? Like launch plans that other people had in place that maybe don't feel so good to them. Maybe they were just running off of, selling without ever getting to know the person behind the sale, right? Personal branding is literally where it's at. That's why our community is the way that it is. It's not just me either. It's all of us. Like, we've all built this community together, the Manifesting Miracle Worker community. It's all of us together. And that was something that was so important to me from day one. So important to me. And the brands that I see skyrocket, like, you know who those people are. You feel like you can connect with them. So when it comes to things like your messaging, you got to be a little more authentic. Even on those days you don't feel so confident and empowered. Talk about it. I did, right? Those days that you have those dips, that's okay. People want to know these things. When it comes to attracting clients, endless clients, you got to be number one in the energy of, my dream people are coming to me, right? My dream people are coming to me. Now, it's a little hard to do that when you feel like they're not, right? So we go back. Okay, well, what are the things that are going on within myself? What's that mirror showing me? That's always the first layer. What is that mirror showing me? So for me, when I was stuck for 4 whole years, I did not feel like I was good enough to hold space for people at a higher level. I didn't feel like I was good enough to call in money or get paid abundantly for my gifts. There was fear of failure, and there was a lot of failure in my life. Like, I come from a background of deep self-hatred. I used to be a bad self-harbor, depression, anxiety, and all of those things started to appear even more once I started the entrepreneurial journey. It's a mirror, because your business is a spiritual entity. It's created through you. It's birthed through you. So I had to look at a lot of those things, and it's not that easy to sit with them. But at the same time, and I was talking about this a lot on day 1 too, we can't be stuck in the healing either. And that's why the strategy is important. Sometimes we'll get so stuck in the healing, like, we do the healing work. You guys are doing it. If you're in this community, you do it. Right? That's what we do here. And you're not honoring yourself enough for it. You're not saying, you know what? I am doing an amazing, incredible job. Most people don't do this type of work. Most people don't do healing work. Most people don't do somatic work. Most people don't write in their journals and visualize and meditate and design the reality of their dreams. Most people aren't entrepreneurs. Most people don't stick with it and keep going even when their external reality is telling them a completely different story. Most people don't do this, and you are not celebrating yourself enough for the work that you're doing. I know we talked about that yesterday, 2 days ago, day 1. So that's number 1, right? Don't get so stuck in it. I was stuck in it for a while. Like, I almost for 4 whole years, it was like, okay, well, what other trauma blocks do I need to release? What more money wounds do I need to heal? What do I have to do here? What do I have to do here? I got to do one more thing. It must be another thing. There must be something blocking me. That was another thing, blocking. If you've been in my community for a while, you know, I really don't like to use the word block, because I have found that word block can make us more blocked than anything else. Because when you start to believe that you are in fact blocked, you become blocked. Everything comes down to your beliefs. Everything. And everything that we do, as far as the healing work, the manifestation work, even the strategy, all of those things together, they are just helping you restructure your beliefs. They're helping you build a new belief system. That's all it comes back down to. Everything comes back down to your beliefs. And when we can start sticking with something, like sticking with a routine that we love, sticking with something that makes us feel good in our business, sticking with boundaries in our business, and we keep doing it habitually, all of a sudden our beliefs are going to shift and change, and we're going to feel better about ourselves. But all of these things, it's all about your beliefs. So when we talk about things like blocks, they get us blocked more than anything else, because that's your belief that you're blocked. You know, like 9 times out of 10, you're not blocked. It's just that your belief that you're blocked. So always look at those things, celebrate yourself, honor yourself, and then get grounded back into a strategy that works. For 4 whole years, I had hardly any strategy at all. I was launching things. I was launching programs that I didn't even want to launch. I was, okay, well, we'll start here. I was creating programs that I didn't even want to create, right? Like, I was creating them because I thought that I had to. So I would create group programs because I would see other people create group programs. So, like, I would kind of create them with like the same structure as I would see other people doing it. I had no idea how to find a strategy that I liked. That's another thing. It's got to be something that really works for you and your own energy. Again, we all have our own unique energy. We all bring our own unique energy to the table. And when we have been told our whole entire lives that we got to do things like everyone else, we got to fall in line, right? Society. When we work 9 to 5, we got to fall in line. We got to listen to a boss. We got to do things like everyone else. When it comes to your business and your journey of creating limitless wealth, it can be difficult to start doing your own thing. It can be even difficult to tell yourself you're allowed to do your own thing, that it's okay. And it's okay if you fail doing it. You could fail. Entrepreneurs, we fail a million times, but we keep going, right? You don't ever really fail unless you quit. And that's the truth. So like I always say, like those failures, like you're not really failing, you're learning from them. But that's the fact of the matter, is like you kind of have to, this whole business is going to make you have a thicker skin in a way, because our whole entire lives we're told to fall in line. We got to listen to our bosses. We got to do this. We got to do that. We have to be at a 9 to 5. We get in trouble if we're late, right? Like all of these things, all of these rules. And then when you become an entrepreneur, one of the points of this is so that you don't have to live by anyone else's rules. You can be your own completely sovereign being. But we don't know how to do that. So a lot of these old stories come right up to the surface, that, you know, that's why I say we got to look even deeper. So sometimes like the story that you think it is, it's not even that. It's something even like deeper than that. So sometimes it's like, you know, we feel like, oh, we're not good enough to work with clients on a higher level. But really it's like a fear of failure, because we already failed in our previous business, failed. We failed in our previous career, failed. We got yelled at by a boss at some point in our lives, failed. We got yelled at in school, right? Because we failed. So it's like you always got to look deeper. And these things are coming up not because there's something wrong with you, but because the business is mirroring what you need to see. So when it comes to things like this, you also got to keep moving. Stick with the strategy. So once I started to find strategies that worked, everything began to skyrocket. And one of those strategies, I'm going to write a post about it right after this. One of those strategies was creating a do-it-yourself course library. My do-it-yourself course library is on sale right now for 40% off for the next 48 hours for Black Friday. We have incredible courses in this library. And this library is something that I had wanted to build from day one, but I was told by a lot of mentors and coaches, and just told by things I would read in the industry, that I should not be making do-it-yourself courses, low-level courses, low payment courses, right? Like that. I was always told I have to start with a really high-level program, like a $2,500 program, a signature program. That's the only way I was going to make money. So for 4 years, well, for the first 2 years, let's say, I was so hardwired and so hard focused into creating that signature offer, because that's what I was told would work, even though that's not what I wanted to do. I loved do-it-yourself courses myself. Do-it-yourself courses helped me build my business up to the point where I was able to start investing in higher levels, right? Like I was able to get a low-level course and build my way up. I loved them myself, and that's what I wanted to do. And not only that, but someone like me, highly sensitive, background of trauma, background of addiction, so much guilt that I carried with me from spending so much money on drugs and alcohol, you know, just like so much guilt from spending, and just so much guilt about money, childhood financial wounds, things like that. Someone with a background like me, I didn't realize this until much later, it was going to be extremely hard for me to start out with a signature offer at $2,500 when I didn't even know what that amount looked like. Once I started to work my way up little by little and get into a strategy that I loved, everything began to shift. Once I started creating courses and programs that I loved, everything began to shift. Once I started to really zoom out and look at the offer strategy, the offer suite, everything began to shift. And then to go even further, so my DIY course library, this isn't just low level offers to get people in the door. These are micro touch point offers. So people see how I teach. And many people go from those micro touch points to higher level offers, higher ticket containers. Because my whole entire offer structure, everything works together. It all flows together. But I didn't have that for 4 whole years. I was launching one-off offers. I was launching one-off intensives. I had no idea. I really had I wasn't able to ground into a strategy. So when we talk about, like throwing shit against the wall to see what'll stick, doesn't always work that way. And for a little bit, sometimes we got to be in that zone of like doing it the wrong way so that we can figure out that's not the right way to do it, because doing it the wrong way usually takes us to the place we need to go. But I was stuck in it for so long because there were so many different things at play. There was the factor that I wasn't good enough. There were all of the money wounds that were coming up. And while I was doing the deep healing, I couldn't be rooted into a strategy. I didn't have one. I was trying to do things like everyone else. And I even see it with like content. I was always really good at content, like pretty much for 4 years. I was good at it, but I had no idea who I was talking to. And a lot of people will come to me, a lot of my clients come to me with this whole idea, well, my messaging is off, right? And they say that to me because that's exactly where I was. I always felt like my messaging was off. There was something wrong with the messaging. It wasn't speaking to the clients that I wanted to bring in, or it wasn't, bringing in any clients at all. And then maybe sometimes it would bring in like unaligned clients. So that signature offer that I hated, that I did end up launching, it was a total failure. One person did enroll, one person, but then they kind of just disappeared, right? And like that's not that person's fault. It's like really my fault because I wasn't clear enough who I was speaking to, who the offer was for, and that's because I didn't even want the offer. I wasn't thrilled about the offer to begin with. I was just doing it because I was told I should put out a high ticket, high level offering. I was doing things based on what everyone else was telling me to do or what everyone else was doing, like what I was seeing them do, instead of taking the reins and putting the pieces together, right? Like we could take pieces from others, and obviously we have mentors. Obviously we get inspired by other people, but at the end of the day, this is still your journey. And it's a journey of trusting yourself. It's a journey of trusting your path and trusting that you will find the right things that work for you. Trusting yourself to say, you know what? No, I don't think that this sounds right. I don't want to. I don't want to make that high ticket offer. And I wonder if back then, if I started out with the DIY course suite, if things would have been different. But again, I went through 4 years of struggling in my business because now when clients come to me, they quantum leap so freaking fast. It's insane. Like one of my clients, she had so many inquiries in just 24 hours time, and I'm celebrating the shit out of her. And like this just happens all the time. So yeah, maybe during those 4 years I was really pissed off, but now I'm not. Now every time we're on the other side, we could look back, right? Like every time we're on the other side, we could look back and see why things happened the way that they happened. So I was listening to everybody else, and I see this happen with content too. With content, it wasn't that I can't explain how okay, it wasn't that my messaging was off. Like, yeah, my messaging was off. Like, I wasn't pinpointing the client that I wanted to work with, but it went so much deeper than that. I was not confident enough in myself to work with the people I wanted to work with. I knew who I wanted to work with. I just wasn't really speaking to them. I was, number one, afraid of leaving anyone out, so I was trying to speak to everybody. Number two, I was not dialed in enough to myself. I didn't have the confidence in myself to keep moving forward. So I would make content that was kind of wishy-washy, like how-to type content. This is going back like a few years ago, really when Reels started to become a thing. And I realized it took a long time for me to realize it's not that I didn't know my ideal client. It's not that I didn't know who I had to speak to. It's just that I was not confident enough in myself to sell things, to put myself out there, even though I was putting myself out there every day, but I still wasn't confident enough that I could get people results, that I could make money doing what I loved. It was that confidence factor. So the energy was wobbly. It was a wobbly, energetic connection instead of being really strong and confident. Like, this is what I do. This is what I do. I know I can get awesome results. This is who I offer my offers to. This is who my offers are for. These are the clients I'm attracting. These are the clients that come into my world, right? Like, it's a totally different energy than, oh, well, what should I say today that maybe maybe I'll get someone to buy, or, maybe they'll notice me. And oh, that was a big one too. Nobody pays attention to me. No one notices me. No one's listening to me. That's what I kept saying in my business for 4 whole years, but it really wasn't that. I had to go back to the wounds of, when in my life did I feel like no one was listening to me? I felt like no one was listening to me when I was posting content or talking about my offers or selling my offers, but really I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't taking care of myself, and I had deep rooted wounds from relationships in the past where maybe I wasn't listened to or cheated on, right? Like, we got to go back. We got to uncover these layers. It's not always what we think it is. Usually not. It's a lot deeper than that. And then another part of putting yourself out there in the online space, a lot of people, and I did this too for 4 years, well, not 4 whole years, but we do things to get, right? How can we get more clients? How can we get more sales? How can we get more income? What do I have to say to get people to buy, to get? But it's not about getting, it's about being embodied in your purpose and embodied in your confidence and embodied in your knowing that you have an amazing fucking offer that you love, that other people are gonna love, that you know you can get people these wild transformations. That's a totally different energy than what do I have to say to get people to buy, right? And sometimes this stuff goes in baby steps too, guys, and that's why you gotta celebrate yourself for every tiny step. Amanda says, speaking to my Chiron in the 8th house, Gemini right there. Oh my God. I have to, I don't have, well, I mean, we all have every sign in our house somewhere, right? Like, I don't know where Gemini is for me at all. Gemini is like not a sign I really know that well either. Like, I'm pretty well versed in a lot of the astrological stuff. It's weird. Gemini is like one of the only ones I am not that well versed in. But I'm glad that this is landing for you. It's weird. Now, I'm going to go and look up all of this now. All of it. So yeah, there's get and there's embody. There's being in the energy and knowing what you do, knowing that you're so good at manifesting, but why can't I get clients, and why can't I get to my next income level, and why is all of this so difficult, right? It's totally different energy. And you got to be, when we're grounded in a strategy that works, guess what? You're focused on the strategy. You're not focused on why the clients aren't here yet. Like, you're on in your thing, focused on the strategy. You're focused in something. Clients started to overflow into my world when I finally started to do the thing that I wanted to do. I built out that offer suite, which, again, by the way, all of our DIY courses are on sale for 40% off right now for the next 48 hours. And my DIY courses are insane. Like, insane quantum leaps are happening just inside these DIY courses. And then from the DIY courses, a lot of people come into my one-on-one containers. People just come into my world, right? These aren't low level. That's another thing. The way that you approach things and the energy that you put into things, your offerings, your content, think about what you put into it, right? So like, when you're creating an offer, are you creating a low level DIY course because you think that maybe, oh, well, at least people will buy it, right? It's a low level DIY course. At least people will buy it. Or are you creating it because you love DIY courses yourself, like me. You love them yourself, and it's going to be so transformational, and this is an amazing stepping stone for a client to come into your world in a higher level capacity, right? There's like they're two completely different energies, and you got to check the energy that's going into things. When you're writing up an email or writing up a piece of content, what energy are you bringing into it? Not what energy do you want it to seem like, but what are you bringing into it? Are you trying to figure out what to say to get people to buy? Or are you flowing? Another thing too, guys, I have seen so much content out there that screams at you. You're doing this wrong. You're not speaking to your ideal client. Your messaging is off, right? Like, you feel like you're being yelled at. And what that does is it takes you out of your power. Your channel, when it's open and flowing, it will attract the people you're meant to attract. But at the same time, there are strategic elements at play too, right? And I also always say, for those of us who are soulpreneurs, spiritual entrepreneurs, that maybe we have an offer suite that, a large offer suite or large offerings that can apply to different people. My brand is my personal brand. My offerings are specific. My offerings are niche down. I always hated the idea of a niche. I tried to label myself as a money manifestation coach for like 2 years. I hated it. I hated it. I didn't want to talk about money manifestation forever. Like, I love talking about it and I love teaching it, but that's not the only thing I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach healing. I wanted to teach business strategy. I wanted to teach messaging and content and launch strategy, right? And I'm able to do all of that because my offer suite, not only do my offerings have specific clients that they're intended for, but they do all flow together too. They all flow together in some capacity. Like, maybe not every offer is for every single person, but they all flow together in some capacity. Because I had the strategy to start moving through that, to tell myself it was okay. It was okay to do what I wanted to do, and everything started to flow from there. So what I was saying about the content, going back to the content and the messaging, it's important. Sorry, like, all of a sudden I started getting an allergy attack today after I started cleaning, but I've been sick. It's just ongoing. You know what though? Seem to remember this time last year I had like an ongoing cough. Like, this time I'm not really coughing, so that's okay. I think it's definitely the change of the weather. So anyway, with the content too, yes, channel it, right? Our channel should be open, and you need to really trust the words that are coming through. But at the same time, being specific and being specific and being to the point is what's really going to sell when you're doing a hard sell. Like, let's say you're in a launch, let's say you're hard selling something, right? I am selling something. When I want to sell something, being specific and being to the point, that's strategy, guys. That's being locked into a strategy. Okay, how can I write this so that it's a little more specific and to the point? How can I write this so someone can really understand that this is for them? How can I write this? How can I put myself in my client's shoes? The energy work is so important, guys, but the strategy, when you're grounded into it, that's really what's going to catapult your growth. Because for many of us who are deeply spiritual, we can get stuck in that aspect. We can get stuck always feeling like there's more to heal. We can get stuck telling ourselves we are amazing at manifesting. How come this isn't working, right? We could get so stuck in there. But when you're really focused on the strategies, boom, 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 this is what I'm doing today, right? This is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm creating my offer suite. This is who I'm speaking to. This is who this offer is for. And letting them feel so seen and so heard. You can also do that by being your authentic self and talking about your story, your stories. Think about it. Think about everything that you have been going through, even in the present moment. You've got to talk about yourself more. You got to sell more too. Like, a lot of you guys, you are not selling enough at all. You got to sell more. People have to know when they land on your page, do they know what you have to offer? And it doesn't mean, like, sometimes you're not in a launch period, right? Sometimes we might be in a growth phase where we're trying to get more people into our spaces and into our communities. That's okay too. But in some way, shape, or form, especially when you are selling something, do people know what you're selling? Like, do they know what it is? Or are you being a little vague? Because chances are, when you are being a little vague, it's because you are not grounded into what the offering is enough, or you're not trusting yourself enough. Though it's usually one of those two things, or both. I'm checking in on Facebook. I think it's still glitchy. I don't see anything on Facebook, but hi everyone if you're on Facebook. I feel like it's popping out again too. This happens every time. It usually comes down to one of those things, right? And like, you make things easier too. Right now, people have really short attention spans, like really short. I consider myself to be someone who reads a lot, like when it comes to content. Like, I will read something that I'm really interested in or something that really speaks to me. But even if it's like a coach I work with or one of my best friends or something, and even if it is really speaking to me, like, if it gets to be too long, guys, I'm going on to the next thing. I noticed that recently. Like, we have really short attention spans. So when we are selling things, you want to stand out, and you want to also be short, to the point, concise. Your content too, just like your offer suite, it all should be working together in harmony. There's not just one piece of content, just like there's not just one piece of offer, right? Or just one offer that's, or just, 5 offers that's just for one type of person, right? You could have 5 offers that are for 5 different type of people, and maybe they overlap sometimes too. Your content is kind of the same way. It is the same way. It should be kind of like when people land on your page, they should see who you are, what you do, what your story is, what your vibe is, what you're selling, if you're selling at the current moment. And when you are in a hard sell period, short, sweet, to the point. Short, sweet, to the point. Let them know what it is, why they need it, and like put yourself in those shoes. And when you're in this type of strategy, I promise you, you're gonna stop the story of why aren't I there yet? Why isn't this working? How come I'm not at 10K months yet? Why aren't I at 50K months yet? Why am I on it at an income plateau? How come Instagram marketing isn't as good as it used to be? Why isn't anyone clicking the links in my emails, or the constant checking of the notifications, right? Like all of that stuff, it just creates resistance. And this goes for anything you are doing in your journey of manifesting and creating limitless wealth. Think about the stories you're telling yourself that are creating all of that resistance, that space of energetic resistance. Like that's a bitch, guys. That's a bitch. And sometimes the best way to get out of that is to ground into a strategy, ground into a new habit, ground into a new routine. I was talking to Amanda the other day about ASMR, right? So when I was really overcoming alcohol addiction a few years ago, I would meditate, right? Like I'm great, I meditate every day pretty much sometimes for a long time. Like sometimes I'll go outside in the morning for a whole entire hour and meditate. But during that time, I wasn't just overcoming alcohol addiction. I was learning how to get over the really harsh anxiety that came along with that. Like bad anxiety. Like I felt like my whole world was closing in on me. I was so claustrophobic. I felt like I could be surrounded by people and I felt all alone in the universe. So ASMR was a habit and a routine that I introduced to myself, and it really helped me overcome that moment in time. And I still love it, and I use it as a meditative tool, right? I started to add something into my day. When you start to add these habits and routines, this is what does it do? Reprograms our subconscious, because now you are in a different routine, a different habit, the habit of your future self. And also always think about your future self. How is your future self thinking? She's probably not thinking, what do I have to say to get people to buy? She knows people want her shit. Oh, that's another one I wanted to bring up. I was going to leave this for our third, but I'm going to bring it up right now. This is a really cool thing that came to me recently. When you wake up in the morning, pretend you wake up as your future self. Okay, so the version of you making 10 20K months, the version of you who has like tons of DM requests and just all of these PayPal notifications going off and tons of money in the bank. Pretend that you wake up as that version of you, okay, when you open your eyes, but you're waking up in your current self's life. So what you're gonna do is, oh my gosh, wow, this current version, she got me to where I am today. And what it does is it teaches you to be a lot more gentle on yourself in the current reality while also getting into the mindset of your future self. I hope that makes sense. Guys, if you're on the replay and you need me to clarify that a little more, just let me know and leave the comments. But it's like you open your eyes and you are your future self, but you're in your current self's life, right? So it's like it's twofold. You're getting into the mindset of your future self who already is making these 10, 20K months. And at the same time, you're being more gentle with your current self, the current self who is getting you to that place. We always are trying to get somewhere. We're always not there yet. We should be there by now. You got to stay grounded in the current moment too, right? And by grounded in the current moment, I don't mean like don't go after your goals or don't, be in embodiment of that future version of you. I mean, take some of this pressure off of yourself by really honoring the you of right now and the present moment. Okay? All right. Any questions? Any questions? Our final day of the workshop is going to be tomorrow. I'm still not sure of the time because I'm getting my hair done early. I'm leaving for Florida on Monday. So that's another reason things are just kind of like all over the place right now. I'm not sure of the time yet. I'm hoping like 2 p.m. Eastern time. I will let you know in the morning. I'll let you know because I don't know how long my hair is going to take. Usually it's always different. So we will see. I will let you know. We're going to talk about success, limitless success. We're going to wrap up our workshop. And yeah, as a reminder, on Sunday, our Black Friday sale is over. You have until Sunday to get every single course in the DIY shop for 40% off. We have amazing, amazing courses to scale your business, heal your life, manifest your dreams, attract raving super fan clients, build your offer suite, do the strategy, do the energy work, get into higher self frequency. Oh, and my famous quantum leap method also. That's its own course. Okay, so you can go to my bio link and find all of that information. And all right, have a beautiful weekend or a beautiful night because I'll be back tomorrow. I love you guys. I'm sorry if I didn't see you on Facebook. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you.